Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Putra Ajhi Pangestu, and this is academic speaking final exam about vocabulary self-collection strategy. To find out if there was a significant difference in vocabulary mastery between students who learn to use the self-collection strategy and those who learn to use the conventional method. Furthermore, it is to find out the differences in vocabulary mastery between students taught using self-collected strategic vocabulary and those taught using conventional methods. Vocabulary is integrated into all elements of language, namely reading, writing, speaking, and listening. Although there is not enough vocabulary, it is not possible to assemble the appropriate abilities in any language skill. Since English became a foreign language in Indonesia, it has been included in the curriculum from elementary to high school. Despite frequent use of English in and out of the classroom, students continue to have difficulties in learning, and they often consider unfamiliar terms as the first obstacle to overcome. Uh, Candra argued that the child's inability to communicate meaningfully does not depend on how well a child can test grammar, regardless of how the sounds of L2 are learned, any as long as the child has no words to learn as well as different meanings. According to Nation, reading, listening, speaking, and writing languages have two different forms of vocabulary. This vocabulary is receptive, productive, passive, and active. Receptive or passive vocabulary refers to words that are identified and understood by native and foreign language speakers and that are infrequently used anyway. Productive or active vocabulary speaks and writes actively. It shows that this relationship is neither normal nor predictable. Similarly, distinguish between productivity and readiness as follows. Because stimulative vocabulary, productive vocabulary contains all the idioms students need for normal communication. Receptive vocabulary consists of essential language and the learner's unstimulated vocabulary. The unsafe vocabulary can be divided into two forms. The first one is words that are most effectively partially understood and these are recognized for positive use. And two, terms that are not required in normal communication. Examine your elements of making sure accurate gaining knowledge of vocabulary. Written by Watson Johnson. The first one is repeated exposure, which imply that people have to come across new words in numerous conditions over time. Seek to introduce new phrases as part of a commonplace style, theme, or subject within the curriculum. The second one, significant context. There are words utilized in vocabulary measuring have to associate as plenty as visible to the life or experience of the pupils. Third one, previous expertise. That is, within the context of acknowledged words and ideas, new words have to continually to be delivered. As people in listening things, they recognize about subjects before introducing a new word. The fourth one, links that illustrate or join the connection among new words and well-known words of concepts. The fifth one, the contextual clues and dictionaries that pupils use to discover the lacking of infamous word in the context of a sentence or paragraph. And six, pupils look up words within the dictionary should be combined with the ways they study them, pronounce them, and use them. That is, will they come across the new phrases to see them as part of a sentence, speak them, and use them inside the written or oral context. Self Vocabulary Collection or VSS. The use of vocabulary collection is intended to improve students' vocabulary mastery. VSS goal is to provide lasting motivation for students to acquire new words by piquing their interest in integrating new topic words into their teaching vocabulary over time. When students use VSS, they maintain their learning style, identify ideal words to use, expand their vocabulary, and become aware of words. There are three advantages of adopting VSS. The first one is the match new words with their meanings. The second one, students are more and more interested in new sentences. The third one, develops students' passion for learning and inventing the last word. VSS makes learning more interesting and fun for students. Students will not get bored during the interest process as they will no longer be asked to answer questions related to the text content without any instructions, but may also be asked to check the text as they identify new and important words. In addition, teacher involvement in monitoring students through activities has a significant effect on students' ability to test correctly. To be concluded, by using VS can improve students' vocabulary mastery by making learning more enjoyable, bring enthusiasm to students at some point in the process, learn and motivate students to accumulate new words, except that studies show the success of using VS to improve students' vocabulary levels. The method. The method. Collect data by having students do experiments. By studies to use group of students where one group is considered the control and the other is considered the experimental group. Tool of method using vocabulary test. It concerns the receptive or productive capacity of a language in general. The test is divided into pre-test and post-test. They are made as a multiple choice item with 5 options for each item. They first explain to the students and invite the students to ask if there is anything they don't understand about the instructions. The test lasts about 60 minutes before the post-test or after the pre-exams. The treatment was performed. The data collected through how the tests were analyzed using the descriptive statistics to determine the student's vocabulary fluency before and after treatment, and inferential statistics to determine if there was a difference. Plus, in terms of vocabulary fluency among students, students talk using self-collection methods and students talk using conventional methods. In addition, previous analysis, including uniformity and normality tests, was performed to show whether the speculative test uses parametric or non-parametric testing. The normality test used the Kolmogorov-Smirnov test is a non-parametric test for equality of one-way continuous probability distribution that can be used to compare samples with a reference probability distribution or to compare two samples. Consider the total number of students to be 60, while the homogeneity test use Leven's test for equality of variance. Although this study only focused on students mastering vocabulary through VSS, in which the purpose of VSS is to help students acquire long-term vocabulary, there are also a number of studies that demonstrate that VSS is effective for students. VSS is a means of motivating learners to build academic and specialized vocabulary. Alright, the conclusion. Collecting strategies and those that took in the conventional approach, it revealed that students had an adequate record of mastering vocabulary after being taught using conventional methods. Furthermore, the result of the efficiency test concluded that the self-collection method is more effective than the conventional method. By observing the results of each group, this study proposed to use the strategy of self-collecting vocabulary in teaching vocabulary because it helps to improve students' vocabulary mastery better than the traditional method. Alright, that is all for my video. Thank you for watching. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.